Hi, welcome to Mind Unfiltered. Today's topic we are going to be discussing rosacea, how I think I developed rosacea, triggers, how I try and manage it. I'll just try and do the best I can to explain it as easily as possible. The reason I've decided to go for this topic today is actually because I am going through quite an unusual flare up. I haven't had something like this for quite a while. And usually it's things like alcohol or anything like that that triggers it. But in this case, I actually don't know what's triggered it because I haven't done anything that differently, really. So this has just kind of come out of nowhere. And so I'm hoping that maybe if I talk out loud and talk about my triggers and stuff, that maybe I'll get to the bottom of it while I speak out loud. I don't know. Got my hibiscus tea to help me. Hopefully it will help bring down the inflammation because that's what hibiscus tea is really good for. Really good for anti-inflammatory, really good for helping draw out any nastiness out of your carbohydrates, which is another reason why I use this. Also, it's just really nice before bed. It's good for your melatonin. Helps you get to sleep a little bit better as well. So let's talk about where I think I developed rosacea. There's multiple factors to why someone could develop rosacea. Obviously, I have really pale skin, so I really have quite thin skin, very sensitive skin. I also don't think I used much sun cream when I was a kid on my face, so that could be a factor as well. And I think the other thing, which is something I've come to realise recently, is when I was probably, I'm going to say around 11 or 12, I started to get interested in things like makeup and skincare. This was around the time where internet became quite popular and I was able to access beauty guru videos. And so obviously they were inspiring me and I'd be like, Mom, can I try your foundation? Can I try your skincare? And all those things. That obviously led to a little bit of an addiction into beauty for me. Like I loved trying new skincare, new products. I loved it. The only issue with that is, obviously at the age of 11 or 12, your skin hasn't really your entire body hasn't even fully developed yet. And so your skin is still developing. So what I think I'd done was I damaged my skin barrier, meaning that your natural skin produces oils and things that are natural, and it keeps a good level of pH on your skin. When you're a child, the only thing you really need to use on your face is water. You don't need anything else. Maybe sun cream. That is one thing that I do recommend, actually. But anyway, so I think there was just so many different factors into this. Okay, so I was getting into foundation, skincare, and not using sun cream. I would say I didn't have the best diet either at that age. I don't think I've ever had a very good diet. I think only now I've started to be a lot more cautious about what I'm eating. But that is due to many different things. But I will get into that in a moment because I do think that there is a link to that as well. So, yeah, I think all those years as a teenager with skin still developing and me damaging my pH, it meant that I was more susceptible to outbreaks in acne. I had a very severe allergic reaction to a toner from Avon once. It completely burnt my face. And I'm not going to lie, that could also be one of the things that triggered this off. This was a long time ago, though. But my mum had bought this new thing off Avon, thinking, oh, yeah, she's going to love that. And I did. I loved the whole experience of trying it out. I'd never had one before. But moments later, my face was super crusty, like it had literally just been sprayed with boiling hot water. And it was scabby and dry and just, it was horrible. I would say, you could probably say it was probably contact dermatitis. It was really bad. After a few weeks, it did clear up with moisturizer, just being careful and not putting anything on my skin. But, you know, it wasn't so bad when I was a teenager. The redness wasn't that bad. I mean, I always had rosy cheeks because I've got such fair skin. So if I was to tell a lie or get embarrassed, or somebody had made me feel all blushy and stuff, it would show in my face. That was just a thing. Like, I was even nicknamed Rosie when I was in one of my college years. That's fine. It didn't even bother me because it was like, oh, this is just me. It's just a natural thing. And I would say sort of my early 20s, I started noticing that I would react to, well, I don't even know what I was reacting to at that point, but I would just suddenly have these outbreaks. And at first, I just thought it was a form of acne, that I'd just, a hormonal thing, or I just hadn't washed my face very well one day. That's all I thought it was. But then I think I'm going to fast forward to when I had my daughter. And I feel like it was somewhere around that time where things changed. And I just seemed to be reacting to so much more stuff. And it was coming out in like this. I call them like little bubbles under my skin. Like, they weren't acne because they weren't forming whiteheads. It's just like really hardened bubbles that just flare up like this, okay? Because they kind of, from a distance, they kind of look like acne, but it's not. They're really hard and they're really sore as well, and hot. They get really, really hot. So yeah, that, I would say it started getting worse around the time I had my daughter. And I went through this period of like not being able to find any foundations or anything that would work for my skin. I just kept reacting to everything. There's one thing that I will happily say is my fault, and that is I used to be so bad with washing my face. Like, I would fall asleep quite a lot with makeup on, which is not going to help, okay? It's going to make your pores clog and, it's not great. I have stopped doing that now, though, because, I'm kind of annoyed at myself for knowing that I have this problem, complaining about it, and kind of actively making it worse. So yeah, I have stopped doing that now. I have made sure that I wash my face every day before bed, and put a few creams on. Well, actually, I try and keep it minimal. So I switch between creams every day. I will put like a picture somewhere to let you know what range of products I use. I would go get them, but they are in the room over there and I don't want to wake up my little one. So I didn't come prepared for this video. Sorry. So I'll have to just put in the items somewhere here. Yeah, so I try and keep it minimal. So I use a fragrant-free face wash and a clean rag every day. I try and not use a cloth twice if I can help it, because the less bacteria transfer, the better, if possible. Sometimes I don't keep up with washing, so sometimes that doesn't always work, but I'm trying. And what's the next thing? Okay, foods. So we need to discuss food and why I think that food is one of the biggest factors as to why I flare up. So obviously, we all know that if you have rosacea or even acne and you have something like alcohol, you are very likely to have a flare up. That's common knowledge. I think everyone knows that, because obviously your body is then inflamed, and it's basically a toxin, and your body is trying to expel that toxin. I actually have discovered a couple of beers that actually don't trigger it off, which is kind of nice. But yeah, there's a couple for me personally that don't trigger it off. So that's kind of good for if like I want to go out and I don't want to have the worry of my face turning into bubble wrap when I'm out. So that's good. So what I really want to discuss is kind of like a touchy subject, but basically sugar, carbohydrates, anything like that is just a full-blown trigger for me. Like today, me thinking about it, I had quite a lot of carbs at lunch. I had a leftover pizza. I actually had pizza yesterday as well. So I had pizza last night, and then I had leftover pizza for my lunch today because I didn't want to waste it. So that is a lot of carbs within the space of 24 hours for me, considering I've cut down quite a lot on them. And I guess like this could be like the noticeable difference of what happens if I have too much. So that's interesting. But yeah, so foods. I do find that sometimes spicy food can do it as well, but I'm not going to be mad at spicy foods because if my cheeks go red with spicy food, I feel like it's because, like it unclogs your sinuses and the toxins from your body. I think actually it's kind of helping in that regard. So it's kind of like a temporary thing, but for a good thing, it will help get it out of the body. And that's basically it, really. I don't think dairy does. Maybe like if I have too much cheese, it might do. But other than that, no. And I would say if I have more than 2 cups of coffee in a day, then I can notice more redness forming, but I don't bubble up with coffee. It's just more of a redness under the skin. But yeah, in regards to carbs, sugars, anything like that, or refined, not refined, well, refined carbs, yeah. Any like vegetable oils, they're all inflammatory. And basically, we have to remember that our gut health resembles our overall health. So if we're eating bad foods, like inflammatory foods, it is probably going to show up in the body. And I have quite a lot of aches and pains. I get quite bad cramping in my legs. And obviously I have this. I also get really bloated, like severely bloated, and not just in my stomach where it feels like a balloon that could be popped. I get it in my face, like it's actually starting to go down a little bit now. But for the last sort of few days, I have had a cold as well, so that's why. But I have had it, so like it's just been so puffy, and my chin's been like, it has been going down. But I do find that if I eat the wrong types of foods for a prolonged period of time, that I will be excessively bloated, where it's uncomfortable and painful. but I also get like, I feel like I get inflammatory around my joints, and just strength. I don't have a lot of strength. Like my body, I feel like it's because my body's just like trying to fight these pains all the time, that there's just no strength left. And I just put it down to my diet, and I'm still really struggling. You know, it's so annoying because I know what the cause of a lot of these issues are for me, and yet I still struggle to get myself out of it. And that is the problem. That's where the food industry has got us all in such a tight grip, because they know that it's really hard once you've started to consume these foods. Obviously, I started from an early age. It's kind of programmed in my mind that I am addicted to it, and it's really hard to not be, to not crave it, to not be like, oh, one won't hurt. But the problem is, when I say that, you know, one takeaway, one pizza, whatever, that won't hurt. But obviously, you get quite a lot of pizza. I shared it with my daughter, but it's still quite a lot of pizza, and this is the aftermath. So I feel like these are the lessons that I need to keep having, which should help, you know, lock it into my brain that, like, no, that's, you know, it's not that good for you. I'm not saying that it like needs to be like 100% cut from their diet. It's just that I need to be a little bit more cautious of how much of it. So for my dinner, I just had chicken and broccoli to kind of counteract that, to try and not have any more carbs. That's why I'm also hoping that this hibiscus tea will take away some of that inflammation, and reduce the amount of carbs that my body will absorb today. Yeah, what was I going to say? There was something else I wanted to talk about. Oh, did I say about the maintaining? I think I did say a little bit about how I maintain it. The issue is I don't actually know how I maintain it, because it's so randomized. It just comes and goes so randomly. Obviously, it's now really cold in the UK right now as well, so it's getting really windy, so that's not helping. So that's probably added to it. All I can say is it's the cleansing, the the moisturizer, but I switch between. So I have a hydrating moisturizer one day, and then the next day I have a serum, and then I alternate between them. Once a week, I use a salicylic acid cream, which I put on overnight to help draw out any dirt from underneath my skin. And then I try and use SPF every day now. And what's the other thing? Oh yeah, and I try not to wear makeup every day. That is one thing. I try not to use it every single day, because obviously, I just need to let my skin breathe sometimes. I think that is one of the things that I need to be a little bit more okay with. Like, I really struggle with it, because obviously the irony of it is I hate the way it looks. I feel so embarrassed by it. And obviously then when I'm embarrassed, I get more red, because I'm worried about what people are thinking, even though, you know, not many people even really care or notice or have even said anything. People in my, you know, over the years have mentioned it, but really it's not as bad as I think it is. But it's still really hard, and it's really damaging to my confidence. So obviously trying not to wear makeup to cover it up can be very difficult. But then I'm just in this constant cycle of clogging my pores, creating a rosacea attack. I cover it up, I make it worse, and then it's just constant. So yeah, I'm just trying to be a bit more cautious of that. Just, you know, I used to wear makeup every day. Now I just sort of wear it a couple of times a week, as and when I feel. I did decide to splash out and get a little bit of a more upmarket foundation, which is the Estee Lauder Double Wear. Because I found that I just kept buying like all these pointless cheap foundations just because I needed temporary fixes and I didn't want to spend too much money. But I was reacting to them really, really bad. There's some chemicals in those cheap foundations that I don't trust at all. So I did decide to splash out and get like a better quality foundation. But I feel like, you know, it kind of works itself out because now I'm trying to be a little bit more cautious of how much I put on my face and have more breaks between makeup days. I'm saving product, but also my skin is better for using a better quality product on my face. So there's that as well. Like I will be saving money in the long run because I won't necessarily need to use as much products to repair my face. So yeah, I guess that's really all I have to say about it all, really. It's just something I wanted to talk about because it's one of those things that it really bothers me, and I'm sure that there are many other girls and boys out there who have this and really struggle with it. And, you know, I just kind of want to, I kind of want to normalize it because it's actually pretty common in people. So I want to normalize it so people don't feel weird. But also I just want to shine light on the possible causes so it might help to make better future decisions. And also maybe like if you have children and stuff, like maybe just be a little bit cautious about what you let them put on their skin. Just don't let them put anything on there. I know it's all cool to like mess around with makeup and fit in and stuff, but I don't actually think it's worth it. Like if I could tell younger me that, hey, don't touch that because in the future you're going to be having skin problems, I wouldn't have touched it. I would have just left it because, you know, I would give anything to not have this so I could just have my bare face. Like I would. So yeah, that's literally all I really wanted to say about it. I've managed to go on again for another 24 minutes. It's really easy for me to do that, just so you know. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to go now. I hope that if you see this video and if you also have rosacea or if you know someone that has rosacea, this has helped in any way. If you want any future videos like on like how I do my skincare, which is so minimal, but if you do, sure, I'll do it. Yeah, I will put somewhere. My brain just switched off then. Hello, ADHD. Do you know what? I managed to keep it together quite a long time there, so that's not bad. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, I've decided to put the my god, the products that I use on my skin at the end of this video. Okay, I'm going to attach it to the end of this video, so you can see which ones they are. That wasn't so hard, was it? Why did my brain just go to proper sponge mode there? Like it just didn't want to work. Anyway, wow, I must be getting tired or something because I'm just literally switching off. Right, I'm gonna go. Bye.